I would fail. I'd be like, how am I supposed to repeat like what I just like did?
Can't
I don't
redo
remember
it.
what I just ate yesterday. How am I supposed to remember what I did 3 years
Yeah.
ago?
The future is screwed. That's it.
I got the memory of a goldfish. Welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a podcast by filmmakers who talk movies, television, and have the memories of goldfish. I am your host, Watch the World Burn.
I can't remember.
So
Oh,
today we have a special guest,
yay. Jamie.
Jamie, yes, which you might have seen on our episode with George, where so she's a writer for her own comic book that's coming out soon. When is it coming out? Do you have a date for it yet?
It's got to be created first. That's what the
Mm,
Indiegogo, so I can hire artists and get the whole thing done. Hopefully by the end of the year. That would be
yay.
yes.
Let's
So we
see.
can end 2023 strong. That is what we are working on.
And you have to keep us updated.
Yes,
I will. I will.
absolutely. And when it does, we'll bring you back onto the show. So in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about villains that we cheer for. So in our eyes, they become like heroes, and we're cheering them on even when we shouldn't. But first, we're going to hit them with a current event.
Not really a villain movie, but it's a horror movie. I guess the villain is just happens. That's the villain. But Final Destination is coming back. That is a personal favorite of mine. Not great movies, but they were
You still
just
watch them.
entertaining. Huh? Yeah, exactly. It's one of those movies like you just watch them, you're entertained by them. But they're finally bringing back, even though we supposedly had the Final Destination. And then the new premise for it, supposedly, it's called Bloodline. That's what I was reading, and it's basically, I guess, death trying to wipe out someone in the past was supposed to die and they survived and they've had children and those children had children. So now death is trying to come back and wipe out the whole bloodline because the
That's
whole
messed
bloodline
up.
was not supposed to exist. So what are the thoughts on the new concept and the new direction that they're going with for Final Destination? Is it fresh enough to bring you into the movie theaters?
I don't know if I'd go to the theater for it. I'd probably wait if it once it streams and watch it at home. That's with that one. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, it seems like an interesting enough concept where they haven't done that before. So, I mean, sounds good enough that I'd give it a watch. I don't know if I'd go run out for it though. I'll be
Fair
honest.
enough. Fair enough. What about you, Dan?
No, I don't want to watch it. Like that's a franchise that could die. Going to previous bloodlines, like all you're gonna do is just give us nostalgia of, oh, they share the same last name as the character from part 3 that I remember. I don't know, man. I saw the first one, loved the first one. The second one, I think I saw, and then I think I saw one where they were at a like a roller coaster ride or something like that. That was
Oh
about
yeah.
it. Yeah, I don't care. Like
He's
it's
still scarred for life from the truck scene
oh
though.
my God,
Or
everybody is,
I
huh? I
won't
can't.
I will not be behind a truck ever in my life.
Mm-mm,
I can help
can't
it.
either. Nope.
That's going to be one of the telltale signs of what generation someone's with if they're terrified of those trucks because of that scene. It's like, oh, I know what
Millennial
time frame you're
problem.
from.
Exactly. That's a memorable
Girl.
scene. Yeah. Okay,
Uh,
Jose, I have a
well,
quick question for you. Which one's your favorite outside of the first one? So, like for audiences, I'm like, oh, I remember that one. I only saw the first one. Which one should they watch?
I mean, I enjoyed the second one. That was the airplane one that they had.
You know the first one?
That
Aren't they all
no, sorry,
airplanes?
no, the first one was the traffic, the car. That was the
No.
accident,
No,
wasn't it?
that might have been the second one. The first one was the airplane because it had Devin Shawa in it. They're going to what is it, Cancun or Mexico or something like that?
Yeah, they're on the and it
Yeah.
starts with them and there's like the
Yeah.
bathroom scene
Hmm.
and the
I
teacher's
promise you.
house blows up.
They were both not the same movie. Then that means the second one must have been the traffic one. They were not the same movie
Yeah,
because
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. The
big
second one had the traffic.
yeah, okay. So then yeah, then it would be the first with the airplane and then the second one. Those would be my two because they had the good accident scene. They were the better put together.
they're
And
the
then
classic
after
ones.
that, in the which one?
They're classics. Those are like
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
They
know,
tried. They tried on those ones.
yeah,
yeah.
and they were put together. After that, the series became to me, it's not that these were great movies, but they were good watches because I wanted to see how creative they got with the kills. That's what it became. Like watching Final Decision, be like, all right, how are they gonna do it? What a regular, everyday, mundane thing are they gonna turn into a death trap that I have to be paranoid about? And stuff. And that's where the entertainment from this movie came from, not the quality of the movie itself or its great lore or storytelling or anything like that. It was like, what cool deaths would they have? That being said, this would not be a theater movie for me either. This would be like a streaming movie after it comes out that I watch at home when I don't want to think too much. I just want to be visually entertained. That's when I would watch the new Final Destination.
It kind of reminds me of Saw then, right? 'Cause that's how Saw was, where you start to watch the later ones. Like, okay, well, how interesting are they going to kill him? That's it.
Exactly.
I fell off of those. I don't even know how many Saws exist now. Like,
I think
feel
like
keep
7.
going. Like what?
Kevin?
I think they're doing another one, aren't they?
They just did sort of a
right?
reboot with Chris Rock called Spiral.
Right, I saw that one.
Yeah, and now they have another one. I think it's called Saw 10. Do they have 10 of them? But I think it's called like Saw 10 or something like that. And then that one is supposed to be, I think, a prequel because they're bringing the guy back, and the guy is dead. So they're bringing the main guy back.
That's the mark of a good franchise when you have to go back to past stuff because it's not working out. Sign me up.
Yeah. Hey, if Fast and the Furious can bring everyone back to life, so can Saw.
Oh boy, Fast and that ended for me with Paul. I just had to say no to anything new.
I think you guys will be interesting to know that we're actually going to get a Final Destination Fast and the Furious crossover where the family is trying to avoid death as they race across the United States, and death is coming after them, the one thing that hasn't come after them yet. And that will never be coming out because that is a Nas made up fact.
I was like, are we being punked? What is happening?
You did. You got Jamie. That's the only way.
Wrote that? Like
Jose, just right now in this moment. That's who wrote it. But let's get into our topic. They have written such great, complicated villains that they've humanized them to the point where sometimes we cheer the villains on more than we cheer the heroes. So what makes you guys cheer for a good villain?
So I didn't write that part, but no, the makings of a good, like, I think it's just connecting with the character in a way where you can feel bad for them a little. So you can see something that the good guy did to provoke maybe the villain and turn them into the villain. Like, what was their origin really? And because something always has to cause that. It didn't just become evil. You weren't born that way. You weren't just, something had to happen, I feel. I don't know. One of those I can use an example. I don't know. Do you all watch Succession?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So sorry, not like a regular type of villain, but like Logan Roy, the character is like a villain. But okay, probably a spoiler, but in the recent episode, something major happens with his character, and you kind of cry, like you're sad that this happened to them, and you wish that things could like change. So I think that's like the makings of a good villain, where you can still you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and not to get into spoiler talk, but Logan Roy's, he seemed like a villain is the way they presented it, but then after this stuff happens in the story, he was absolutely right. So you do see the character was right. I mean, they're trying to present it in a way where you feel bad for other characters, but the villain was right in this. So you kind of empathize a little bit with that. How about you, Jose?
No, I agree. Those are good points there. For me, I really enjoy the gray area villains, where you see their point of view, even if you don't agree with their actions, you kind of see where they're coming from or why they're doing what they're doing. So I like those gray area villains, not the I'm just evil to be evil, which we get a lot of that in movies. Sometimes I like villains they're just a plain old badass in action and appearance. They look cool, they act cool, and it's just like, I don't care why you're doing this. You're just a badass. I'm going to cheer for you. And as Jamie mentioned, the sympathetic villain, the one you can empathize with. You get their backstory, and you understand why they think and they act the way they do, and you can sympathize with it. It's easier to connect with those villains. And then probably the last thing that can make me cheer for a villain, if the hero is very annoying. If the hero is so annoying that I'm like, oh my God, take him out. Anyone take him out.
And that.
Like, I'm on your side.
Yes, I agree with that. If there's a villain that's really powerful, it's just really cool to watch like a villain just super powerful. Like we talked about Rogue One, Vader just going in on people. I love watching that. If you have a tragic past, so like what you said, Jamie, if I see a tragic past of a villain, it makes me sympathize with them. Like Vader had a tragic past. If I went with a character that I kind of identify with, so like somebody that's doing stuff for like their family maybe, and they take a villainous approach on doing it. And then another one's just a really great actor. If you cast a really, really good actor, I'm going to cheer that person on, even if their character doesn't have any redeeming qualities. I love great acting. And I noticed as I put together my list of favorite villains, I noticed a constant theme in this, which is intelligence. I love intelligence. So if you have an intelligent villain and ones that they're kind of right, I tend to go with. And one thing I learned in film school was they said a villain is always a hero in their own eyes. They just take a different approach to get there. And when you can write a very good villain, you can see their approach to getting there, and it's supposed to be opposite of what your hero is. And like what you said, Jose, sometimes those heroes are just so vanilla. It's so boring to me. And it's like, you know what? Kill them, man. The villain is the most interesting part here. I want to see that. So having said that, let's get into our first choice. So Jamie, since you're our guest today, we'll go off with you. Who's the first villain you want to mention?
Okay. Now, this might be controversial, but
we like starting off with a bang. Love it.
But okay, and this is someone that most would think is a hero. They're probably would come for me for this, but Wanda from WandaVision.
Love Wanda.
Love her. And you're right. She's a villain because yep.
She definitely, I mean, and to me, she's a good villain, but she's very selfish. Everything she does is for herself. If anybody truly pays attention to what she's doing, and yet, like, you get, like, she wants certain things out of life, and what she wants, she, stumbles and can't really have, or things are taken. But no, she's willing to, like, demolish an entire city to get what she wants. And that's not hero-like. That's not a hero. Sorry. That's how I'm sticking with it.
I'm gonna go out there and back my girl Wanda up on this. So I do understand, yes, especially in the last iteration, the last movie, she was being a little selfish and she wanted things for her regardless of the consequences. So I do understand that. But this is an individual who her entire life has had things taken away from her. She didn't have her freedom. She was a captive. She was experimented on. She lost her parents. She lost her brother. She had to kill her lover only for him to get brought to life and watch him die again. I had her kid. She had so much taken away. It's about time she said, you know what? I'm going to do what I need to do for me, regardless of everyone else, because the world has taken everything from me. So I can fully understand and empathize with her character, where I was on her side when they came to that. I'm like, that's shit, just let her live. Let her do what she needs to do.
But that still makes her a villain, though, because she should have known, because she was an innocent person that had all that stuff done, and she's doing the exact same thing to innocent people. But I love Wanda. I felt the same way. I loved WandaVision. It's probably my favorite MCU show, I think. Probably. I think WandaVision is really up there. I really appreciate how they did it, but I totally get it. It's like a mother scorned. She's willing to sacrifice and kill anybody to get it, literally destroy the entire earth to get to her imaginary children. So I get it.
I'm going to have to go with Walter White in Breaking Bad, played by Bryan Cranston. I love this series, and I think it's the fact that we got introduced to this character before they were, quote unquote, a villain. He was just a regular teacher trying to provide for his family, and we see throughout the journey of Breaking Bad, we see his struggles, we see how his circumstances have slowly shaped him into the villain that he becomes towards the end. So, you can sympathize with him, even if you don't agree with all his actions. Not saying you're 100% on board, like everything he did was right. No, but you can understand how everything has driven him to make those decisions that by the end, and not only now understood him, I was like, man, I don't want anyone else really to get hurt, but I kind of want him to just get away with it. Like, can he just retire and then like live his life, not do any more crime, and like be good? Like, that's what I wanted for that character, because you're not just looking at their actions at the end, you're looking at their entirety of their story.
Yeah. And when you deal with a father or a husband and you see his life crumbling, like especially when we find out about his past where he was destined to be, this great scientist, and these past decisions placed him where he's at, you can completely empathize why he does what he does. And the great thing about Walter White is that he's complicated, because sometimes he would make decisions based off of ego. And you, the audience, is like, no, man, don't do that. Like, you had it won. Why did you complicate that? I love when you're screaming at the screen like that, for your characters. And typically your heroes, what makes villains so great is that they do live in that gray area. And they're supposed to be flawed characters, and heroes are traditionally more like your Captain Americas, where they're so vanilla, it just gets so boring. Like, you expect them to make the right decision. When you have a character that's constantly making the bad decision, but you're still cheering them on, that's just so much more fascinating to me. It's way better writing. I had Walter White on there as well for all the reasons you said. And to some extent, like a Tony Soprano falls in line with that as well, with The Sopranos. Like, again, you have a father husband figure that's trying to provide for his family and goes the criminal route to do it because that's what they're best at.
You have here, and I think it's the same thing with Wanda to an extent, where it's like with their life experience, there was a certain mindset that they had, and their life just kind of was just obstacle after obstacle with that mindset. And like with Walter, it was just never standing up for himself, just kind of going through. And you do see this in real life with people, where it was like when they have a certain mindset and it's led to certain problems in their life, and they really try to make it to make that change. Sometimes you see an overcompensation, where now they go in the other direction. Now they become overly selfish, or they overly stand up to himself to the point their ego gets in the way, and then now they're actually affecting other people. So you see that overcompensation with it.
I was a late person joining that one because I saw it after the show was over. I binged watched everything, but I did enjoy it. I loved that show. I was like, oh, I see what the hype is now. This is what I did not like the movie they did.
Oh yeah,
that one.
yeah.
It felt silly because like he was very clearly not a young guy anymore. Was it Jesse or is that
Jesse Pinkman.
Jesse Pinkman.
I was like, what is this? Why are we trying to pretend he's like a youngin? They could have probably got somebody else to play the role.
I know the wife got a lot of hatred, like her character of Walter White. A lot of people hated her character, but because they weren't allowing him to be so evil.
I feel that was the goal. They made her very unlikable. So I feel the goal accomplished, and kudos to her, because the worst thing that you want as an actor is to not elicit any reaction from your stuff. So hate is just as good as love, as a reaction to a character that you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So a character that I went with was Hannibal Lecter. I love me some Hannibal Lecter. It's the high intelligence and the ruthlessness. So from Silence of the Lambs, you have the Buffalo Bill character, but he provides enough intel to Clarice to be able to capture that. But Hannibal Lecter, I love the elegance of him. And it's like the juxtaposition of the elegance and classy with how vile and evil he is. So even when you have the scene where he escapes and he cuts off the guy's face and he wears it, it's so disturbing and ugly, but then you hear him listening to like opera music while he's doing it. And I just love that. I love the high intelligence. I just respect it. And the dialogue, and Anthony Hopkins is such a phenomenal actor. I love the character. I wanted him to escape. I didn't want them to capture him, despite him being a cannibal. It was awesome.
Oof. I never watched that show.
Oh, really?
I didn't.
Did you watch any of the movies? I think there was like 3 movies for it, right?
Okay, yeah, I did not see all of. I think I saw one of the films, but I didn't even know there was more than one, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go back now.
They're all called differently
it.
because you had like Silence of the Lambs, you
Okay.
had Red Dragon, and then you had Hannibal, just Hannibal.
Yeah.
Okay. And the TV show, right?
There was a TV show, yeah. The one that I loved is the movie Silence of the Lambs. So I love the OG one. I don't even think I saw the show. I think I saw like the first couple episodes. Not that it was bad or anything like that, but I'm just a fan of Anthony Hopkins and like the way he portrayed it, where even Jodie Foster, the actress, was genuinely terrified of him on set as they were filming.
Yeah. So I love Villanelle from Killing Eve. Did you ever watch that show?
I saw the first season of it. So. She was good. She was a really good villain.
She's like such a good villain because you always like she's a crazy killer. Like she was literally raised to be a killer. Like that's her job. She take out big figures or people that are in the way of this kind of, I guess, I don't know. I want to call it like an underground situation of important people that are, having these girls like trained to be like, in a way, like a spy kind of, but no, she's just like, she's a killer. And, but things get rough for her as the seasons go on, and they eventually want to like get rid of her, but you want her to like survive and keep things going. Like you're rooting for this person that's very just a killer. She's just crazy.
I have to check it out. Everything you're describing about, I'm like, that sounds like right up my alley. Like I want to check that out then.
So the ending was not what I wanted, but like I think they rushed through the last season of it, but before that, everything was great. It's like a Game of Thrones moment.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah.
For the ending. Not there.
She's and I only saw the first season, but yeah, it's a killer. There's a charm to her because she's not like, her affect is not stone cold killer. So, there's a certain charm to her. There's a usefulness and a fun to how she's like doing everything and living her life, even though what she does is killing. But you take out the killing part, and she seems like a fun person.
Exactly. She loves fashion. She hooks up with random people, and then she, like, you're just like, you're done.
I like that. Say less. I'll check it out.
You're really nice. I love you. Bye.
It's like the ultimate ghosting.
For my next one, I'm gonna go with Dexter from the show Dexter, played by Michael C. Hall. So it's a serial killer with uncontrollable urge to kill overall, but he learns to like satisfy these urges by just unleashing it on criminals rather than on the innocent, and that's how he's able to satisfy his urges and not end up being a mass murder of innocent people, like overall. And I think what was cool about it is like they were criminals on the show that it just felt satisfying to see him like take them out, when they thought they were gonna get away with a crime. And we all see this on the news sometimes where people like commit crimes and then they walk or they get off on a technicality, or the system like helps them and things like that. And just the thought of having this like one person was like, I got it. Don't worry about it. Say less. I'll go take care of this person. And that's it. They get their consequences for their actions. And for the most part, he has a code. So I feel when you have villains that have a code, like, Predator's kind of like this, what makes me appreciate them. There's a sense of honor that comes with like what they do, even if it is killing. So like there can be, even if you don't agree with their actions, there's at least a respect that there is a code of honor in how they go about it. They're not just going crazy, killing left and right whoever they want for pleasure. So I think that's what made this character very intriguing. And even as the show got bad, and when they did the reboot that wasn't amazing, I wanted him to escape. I'm like, he's just killing criminals. Come on, let him go. Let him live his life.
Yeah, Dexter was cool. I loved it. I stopped during the Julia Stiles season, which was I think season 5. I think it was. I just wasn't a fan of it. My brother ended up finishing it, and he told me it got even worse. He was like, "Don't even finish it," because I really loved I peaked on season 4 with John Lithgow. Like that was the best season, and then I didn't finish it. But Dexter was a really cool character. I liked it. The premise was awesome. Yeah,
I never watched. Oh, another one I've got to go back and watch, huh? That's another one.
If you do, stop at season 3 and then just you'll be good.
End it there and be
yeah, just finish season 3, the best season.
Yeah.
It just goes downhill.
It's season 3 that's Lithgow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I got it wrong. I thought it was 4. So yeah, 3. Stop after 3. Here's one that I had, which I'm surprised Jose didn't mention. The Joker in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's a Joker. So awesome. He was so charismatic. That's what's so awesome about it. Even though he's a psychopath and he just wants to watch the world burn, as my name implies, it was really cool to watch him, and like I wanted him to escape. I love the Joker character mythology and just Batman comics, Batman the animated series, Batman movies. He's always portrayed so cool, and like I never wanted to see him die. And in that one in particular, Heath Ledger, I remember when they first announced that he was cast in the role, I was like, why? Like, why Heath Ledger, the guy from like 10 Things I Hate About You? Like that guy? Then I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this guy's like unbelievable. Like he's amazing. Like he absolutely deserved to have won the Oscar that year. But I was absolutely cheering on his character. Loved it.
Joker's my favorite. So I'm a Batman girl. I'm a DC girl.
Nice.
Yeah. So like, we love DC. That's probably why I'm harsh on Wanda, because I'm like, I'm not a Marvel person. But they're gonna come for me again. But I love Batman. I love Joker. He's a complicated. I feel like Joker, no matter what the films, there's always like a complication to where you like sympathize with them a little bit. It's like the throwback to like Michael Keaton with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. You didn't really feel bad for him when he went over, because he was just a gangster.
Yeah.
In that one. But even like the recent Joker, that was based off the psychosis and everything. And you saw how mean people were to him to cause like the psychosis to be even worse. So like, yeah, I feel the Joker.
That Joker from the new one, I could definitely sympathize with him, and I would have put him in. The reason, and Dan, you were asking why I didn't include the Dark Knight Joker in this, is because I am a huge Batman fan, and I was not going to cheer for the Joker over Batman in there. If Batman wasn't involved in there, I probably would have been cheering for Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah. So that's why I didn't include him in there. But yeah, the Joker is overall such a great villain, because he's pure chaos, and he goes against the grain, against the norm, that normal villains who just, they have a purpose behind their stuff. They're trying to gain power, they're trying to gain money, they're trying to take over something. That's not any of the Joker's motivations. He just wants pure chaos. He wants everyone to, go with their most innate evil like feelings and go with that. When he will have a whole storyline where his main purpose is just to prove that he can turn a good person bad, and that was his whole motivation of it. It's so different. When he's doing something, it's always a toss-up of why is he doing this. You can't read him as you can with other villains.
Yeah, and I love that line where he says, we'll just kill the Batman. The guy's like, if it's so easy, why haven't you done it? If you're good at something, never do it for free. I love that, because it's exactly that. It's like what you said, Jose. He doesn't do things just to be a villain. everything has a meaning behind it, and it's so intelligent, even though he comes off as so chaotic. There's an intelligence to that, and it's like I just noticed I didn't purposely write down intelligent characters. I just wrote down some of my favorites. I just noticed a theme with all my characters that they were all intelligent, and I just noticed that's what I gravitate towards. I have a thing. I have a type apparently for villains. I have a type. Put that on my Tinder profile. Okay. So next, Jamie, we'll do one more each.
Okay, so this one, I'd say probably corny, a little cheesy, but The Wicked Witch of the West, like The Wizard of Oz.
That's a good one.
Because, like, when you think about it, like Dorothy just rolls up and she drops a house on her sister, steals the shoes, runs off with them, and she's just like, you just came in here and you just killed my family member, took the shoes, you wouldn't give them back when I asked for them, and now you're like, oh, like I'm doing something to you. No, I'm just trying to take back what's mine. And now, now because you wouldn't give them to me, I have to do something to get them back. So, I mean, really, Dorothy is the villain's origin story in her own story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And I think there's a reason why not only is the movie iconic, but she's so iconic because like you just murdered her sister. Like you just murdered her.
Poor Dorothy. What?
Yeah, it's like no. And you also have to think about that. It's like it's not just like her sister died, it's that she's been casted and she's known as the Wicked Witch. So I know they have the whole what is it, the Wicked, musical and all that stuff, which I saw and I do like the story, but you see how she was bullied in that, and she was made to be this. Yeah, she was made to be this villain. She's not as pretty as Glenda, but they really villainized her into this. So I completely understand that. That's a great choice. Yeah,
that is a good choice. That's one of those kind of like the Karate Kid, where it's like if you actually look at the details, it was like who's the real villain here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite movie, but it's true.
Absolutely. What's that?
All right. For my other one, I'm gonna have to go with the crew from Heat. I don't know if you guys have seen Heat, that old bank heist movie with De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer. Well, as part of the group, you had De Niro was part of the group, Val Kilmer, Tom Sizemore was part of the crew too. And they're bank robbers. So they're obviously the bad guy, and Pacino's trying to hunt them down the entire time and stop them. The thing is, like, they weren't violent criminals. They were thieves. They weren't trying to hurt anyone. There was like an honor to how they conduct their business. With the exception of they had this one person who they brought on for one job. And that guy was a complete psycho, and that's what kind of puts everything into gear, and he kind of broke out from what their normal standard was by actually like killing someone. And it's just something about when you're watching this movie and you're spending a lot of times in the movie, you spend a lot of time with the hero and little bits and pieces with like the villain crew that he's trying to catch. Mm-hmm. But here, this movie, you spend a lot of time with that crew, and you just see there's such a tight knit like family aspect to the crew, and they all really care about each other. And so even though they're thieves, you find yourself kind of being on their side. And I'm like, oh no, don't catch them, Pacino, let them go. And you see so many moments when they have a chance to escape, and it's like their natural instincts don't allow them to escape. And you're there yelling at the screen like, you had your chance. You could have made it out. Let them walk, Pacino. Let them walk. And no matter how many times I watch that movie, inside, I want De Niro to walk away and escape. And I was so happy that at least one of the characters got to walk away and live his life.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great one. I totally agree with you on that. It kind of they kind of did the opposite of that with Pacino and Carlito's Way. I don't know if you saw Carlito's Way. It's like, man, just get on the subway train. Just get on it, man. You're right there to escape. I know it's always like the final. They see it, and you always know dread is coming with you as the audience because he's like, okay, I've seen this too many times. They're never gonna let him get away with this. Like, and it's so heartbreaking to watch them go down like that.
Sounds like Set It Off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Said it all. It's like, let Queen Latifah get out.
Somebody.
I know. Seriously. Yeah, I hear that. Okay, so I thought about going Ozymandias and Watchmen because I love his character, but I felt it's too much like stuff I already described. So I went with Mr. Glass. So
Oh,
Unbreakable.
okay.
I love Samuel L. Jackson. Love him as an actor, first of all, but I love what Mr. Glass represented. So they gave us a fragile character, literally, because he, had the disease where his bones were basically like glass and they break and they shatter. So you see a character with a tragic past, high intelligence, but what he represented was he was trying to create a hero born out of a villain's need for an archenemy. So he was what we are in terms of we love comic books, we love the comic book thing. So he saw himself as this villain, but wanted to create a hero in order to make himself more of an archenemy. So he wanted to live a comic book story. And I just always thought that was so fascinating. We've talked before on our show about M. Night and how he's like hit or miss a lot with stuff. I love Unbreakable. I thought the movie was great, but I really loved Mr. Glass and what he represented because he did villainous things just to challenge Bruce Willis's character to prove that he was that hero and that he was unbreakable, and he always saw everything as a spectrum. And if there was for every villain, there has to be a hero. So everything has to have an opposite to balance the universe as it's intended. It's a dope concept. I love it.
Okay. I haven't seen that one either, but I know that's part of the Split little
Yes.
like the 3
Yep.
films. Okay. So I'm gonna go back and watch that one because I really like Split. But
Did
I
you?
know,
Yeah.
yeah, I know about
Unbreakable.
Mr. Glass. So I've seen bits of it, but not the whole thing.
Okay.
I always feel it's funny when you have a villain and they fully believe that their actions are the right thing to do to the point where everything gets found out and they basically give off that like you should be thanking me for what I did. Like this is for the better. You have to villain there and like, wait, what? What do you mean I should be thanking you? But and Mr. Glass was kind of like that. It was like this. You should thank me for what I did because of who you are now, like what I helped you become.
What's on the queue? So what's a movie or television series that you want to recommend to the audience with a fantastic villain?
A villain that I always rooted for, just again, because I didn't talk about this type of villain, but this is a villain who's just badass in their action and in their look. And they also have like a code to them, which makes me respect them. Go check out Predator. And
Yeah.
also the new Prey on top of that, if you want that aspect of Predator
Mhm.
too. So either of those two, good choices for a really good villain that you kind of cheer for.
The only worthy sequel. I'm gonna go with. I almost went with one, but I'm gonna go with another one. There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis. Again, when I said one of the things that I look for is just a really great actor giving a phenomenal performance, and he is absolutely a villain in this movie. He's our main character, and he's so damn good. It's a long movie, but it doesn't make you feel like it's long. It's not one that feels so agonizingly long. Really good, really, really good performance. So if you want to see amazing acting, watch a man going crazy, going psycho, and willing to kill anybody for greed.
Including his own cast members.
I feel I would dig deeper, but I'm just gonna go with the Hunger Games because
Mm.
I mean, like that's why we're doing the whole. They're doing the new film this year, and it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
young Snow, so you see how he became who he is. He's a great villain.
Yeah.
Creepy with the roses,
Mm-hmm.
and
He did. And Donald Sutherland was a great actor doing a great portrayal as him. I just recently did a binge watch of the Hunger Games movies. So yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
they're all great.
On that note, thank you for watching another episode of Not a Strong Start. Please like, subscribe, comment, share on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Not a Strong Start. I'm your host. Watch the world burn. You can follow me at King_Sangre.
I am not your host, you damn right. And you can find me at This Is Me Nombre on IG.
I wish I had a tagline. I'm Jamie, screenwriter, author. Check me out on Instagram. You can go JM Storyteller at JM Storyteller and check out my comic at AW Comic on Instagram.
Nice. Which hopefully will be coming out at the end of this year.
Alexis Wyle. Yes.